What's up, college football fans? Don't forget to check out and order your copy of Stiff Arming Football Myths, our latest football game plan book. So go on our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copy. We have these available in paperback as well as in PDF form. Hobart and Wesley kick off our Division III wraparound, and the Statesmen come into this ball game 12-0, 2 close wins in the playoffs, and they are a football team that wins with the running game and solid defensive play at every level. And the Statesmen have one of the best defensive players in the country, regardless of division, in defensive end Tyree Coleman, who comes into this ball game with 11 sacks and 21.5 TFLs. Now, facing Wesley, who can spread the football around, it'll be key for Hobart to stay in the face of quarterback Joe Callahan and bracket wide receiver Steve Codalso. Offensively, they have to be able to take numbers out of the box with their passing game, which hasn't been as consistent as you'd like. For the Wolverines in this game, their defense is flat out phenomenal. The team speed on that side of the ball is what causes problems. Defensive end Amir Petros and linebacker Sauce Thane Kapapula are dominant front seven players that have contributed to a defensive unit that has only given up 9 points a game. Now, offensively, the Wolverines are a big play team that exploits zone coverage and can win those one-on-one matchups in space. Now, the biggest matchup they'll have to win is in the trenches. Their offensive line will be put to the test, and I think they'll pass with flying colors. I like Wesley in this ballgame. This team has the look of one that could challenge both Mount Union and also Wisconsin-Whitewater. Good matchup here between Widener and Linville, and the Wildcats of Linville are one of the most well-balanced teams in Division III, and they're coming off a 31-28 win over Mary Hardin Baylor. Offensively for the Wildcats, quarterback Sam Riddle is a dual-threat player that puts a lot of strain on the defense and makes it an 11-on-11 game. But their secondary versus the passing game of Widener will be their biggest test and the biggest battle they'll have to win. They are a young football team on the corners, but they've played very well. And I'm a big fan of sophomore safety Mikey Arkins, and the monster back, which is a hybrid defensive back, Jordan Geyser, is also one of those guys that can have a huge impact in this ball game. Now, for the pride in this matchup, first and foremost, it's about eliminating mistakes, the penalties, the self-inflicted wounds on third downs. Now, granted, they are extremely talented and have the offense to overcome those early mistakes, but as the playoffs continue, the competition gets tougher and the room for error gets smaller. Now, receivers Anthony Davis and Montrell Hicks-Taylor possess good size and tremendous talent, so look for quarterback Seth Klein to get them involved in the offense early. Defensively, it's about assignment football up front and not getting out of position versus Riddle. Linville was able to win a tough one on the road last week versus Mary Hardin Baylor. I think they come to Chester, PA and knock off the pride. I like the Wildcats. Rematch game here between John Carroll and Mount Union, and rematch games are all about adjustments. And for John Carroll, it's simple: play your game and also protect the football. The Blue Streaks ran the ball very well in the first meeting with their talented tailback Tommy Michaels, who has over 1,400 yards on the season. And they'll need to shrink this ball game and defensively make Mount Union's quarterback Kevin Burke one-dimensional. Now, for the Purple Raiders in this matchup, you want to see what adjustments have they made versus the running game. Will they go aggressive and put an extra guy in the box? Do they trust their personnel on the flanks to man up for the most part of the game? And offensively, you want to see the quick passing game flourish early in this one and allow those receivers to do damage after the catch. Now, you'll get treated to 2 outstanding quarterbacks in this ball game, and it'll be a game of field position. And I think punter Edward Runke does an excellent job of pinning opponents deep on their own end, so I like Mount Union in another close victory over John Carroll. And finally, we have what should be a defensive slugfest between Wartburg and Wisconsin-Whitewater, and the Knights have proven their mettle all season long, knocking off 3 ranked opponents, and it's a classic approach for them as well. Strong running game and stout defense. And running backs Brandon Domeyer and Brandon Richard both average over 5.5 yards a carry. Now, while defensively they can get after the quarterback, teams don't have success sustaining drives against the Knights. For Wisconsin-Whitewater, head coach Lance Leopold will coach the squad for the remainder of the season before moving on to become the University of Buffalo's head coach, and I wouldn't be ready to leave the squad just yet either, especially with the way they play defense. The Warhawks have held 8 of the 12 opponents under 10 points and have only allowed 22 red zone attempts this year, with 10 leading to touchdowns. And they are not too shabby on the offensive side of the ball either, with All-American wide receiver Jake Kumro and quarterback Matt Brent hooking up for big plays down the field. I think Wartburg will try and open up the floodgates on both sides of the ball very early, taking deep shots down the field and also sending different blitzes and stunts down the way of Wisconsin-Whitewater, but look for the Warhawks to be able to maintain focus, withstand the first quarter flurry, and live to play another game under Lance Leopold. I like Wisconsin-Whitewater.